tonight we're going to be covering how to develop your I story. So how many of you guys have an I story? Awesome. How many of you guys feel super confident and comfortable with giving your I story in your intro?
Most of the time.
Yeah, good. You guys ready for a new method that might help? Awesome. Okay. So number one, why do we need an I story? Because your I story and the intro of your party help your guests and hostess decide whether they're going to buy or join. It is your opportunity of connection. Okay? You want to keep your I story from 3 to 6 minutes. I don't know about you guys, but I've been to many parties that start 30 minutes after they're supposed to. Okay? And so but I still like to connect with them. But you know that there's some people that get there really early because they're thinking, oh, well, I want to leave on time. And they have people that get there late. So you kind of want to make sure you're meshing with everybody. So you want to kind of have like your longer one that you can elaborate more, and then your shorter one if you're compressed on time. A cup? Yes, please. I will get thirsty. Meow for the camera. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of talk about how I start my parties before I really get into the I story, because that's really part of it too, because it all comes down to connecting with those women. Leading with the opportunity and defaulting to the products, because they're going to try the products and they're going to spend like a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever you're doing, whether it's basic skincare, micro, or glamour. They're going to be in front of those products. But of course, I never want to lose the opportunity to share the opportunity, because you never know who's going to need it, who's going to be that rock star, and that's what it is to become a red jacket. That's what it is to become a director, is providing that opportunity, and really how, who are you going to impact? So that's the whole purpose behind that I story. So you might have instances where you're in a table with a whole bunch of women who know each other really, really well. And you might have instances where you get a whole bunch of facials together at one spot and nobody knows each other. Regardless, I like them to go around the table and introduce themselves. One really cool story about a group of women who I met through Regina. Well, I met them before I met Regina. Her daughter and her friends, they all knew each other really well. But it was so fun going around the table. And what did I ask them? I asked them their name, what they did for a living, what's their greatest achievement, and what's their favorite cereal. Sometimes I mix it up depending, how I connect with the hostess with what's your favorite food category. And it's so fun because when you ask those questions, you learn that sometimes the closest of friends still are learning about each other. And they were just cracking up the whole time. Like, girl, you seriously? Wait, you what? Girl, that's hilarious. So it's great, both situations. So don't be intimidated if everybody is everybody's best friend since they were 5. And of course, it helps break the ice for all your super new people that have never seen each other before. And then just like any debut that you've gone to, or maybe your debut that you had, you got a whole bunch of women together that didn't necessarily know each other. So it's a great time for them to get comfortable talking with you and the women that they're sitting next to. So I go through that, and you always want to affirm them. So remember the key of looking them in their right eye. And just get used to looking at people in their right eye. My fantastic friend Deb taught me that like a year ago when we were at La Madeline. She's like, oh yeah, look right in the right eye. And sometimes it's a creepy guy. I'm like, oh man, I gotta look in the left. Because I don't want to make like an emotional connection or anything like that. So, yeah. It's because your right eye connects with your emotions. You connect with that person. So always look at that person in the right eye. Don't budge while they're telling you. This is your conversation when they're telling you about them, and then you affirm them. Favorite cereal, like I don't really like cereal, to be quite honest, but I ask anyways, because there are people who don't like cereal. And then me and her, the two girls that don't like cereal, we talk about salsa and chips, because that's usually, I guarantee you, they like salsa and chips. Or chips and salsa, however, whatever order they bring it out on the table, I'm good with it. So go around, introduce. Let's see. So then that's kind of where I go into my I story. And you know that if you've partied with me, I always say, okay, so we're going to become best friends. That is my goal by the end of this party, is that we are best friends. And I mean, we can just be like really good friends too, but either way, we're not going to be strangers by the end of this. Is that fair? That's always fair. Who doesn't want another best friend? So, okay, well, I got to know a little bit more about you, and you guys are all incredible, so affirm them again. And then, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me, so that, you know, it's a two-way street of friendship. And that's where I kind of jump into the I story. Now, jumping into the I story, keep in mind when you're developing your I story, it's kind of like when you're writing your goals, okay? So you want to keep things positive, okay? You want to keep that positive tone. You want to keep that positive mindset. So there's this little thing that I've discovered called a soft negative, and that's what I'm calling it. I've named it medically. I'm just kidding. Don't take me to Webster's Dictionary for that, or whoever. But I call it a soft negative because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a way of focusing on the past. Okay? So you guys know I came from the complaints department, right? If my goal was to become a director, to leave my complaints job, that's a soft negative. My goal to become a director so that I work full-time from home is a positive. So you see, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's past focused. So when we're talking, yeah, we will talk about our past in our I story, because that's part of our story, but it's kind of like when you're, so I'm a church girl, and you guys know I'm a church girl, so testimonies. Really, the meat of a testimony is not what you came out of, but what you're constantly going into and what the Lord has always been doing. So I like to think of it in that mindset also. So you're going to have, you know, that little bit of, yeah, this is where I came from, but this is where I'm going. Because you're going to share your goals in your I story. Now, just like writing down, you know, vision boards, goals, your I story also connects with your subconscious. And really, you guys know how I am with brains. I love brains. God made amazing brains inside of our noggins. But when you do an outline like this, your subconscious becomes this tool, and its function is to carry out instructions. Can I hear all my C's go whoop whoop? Yeah. Whoop whoop. Okay.
They're C's, they don't whoop whoop.
No, I know.
Right, that's why I'm like,
I of it.
Look at this, I just nodded. Yes.
Yay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. I know. You know me. That's why I'm whooping. Because I'm an I. So you want to, you know, this is why we write these things out. This is why, you know, we focus, like we kind of do our prep work. So we're going to do prep work tonight to help us better that intro. So let's see. Yeah, so the more positive instructions you give, not only to your subconscious, the more positive results you will get. So when you're also writing this out, the more positive you write this, the more positive everybody will be impacted. And really, you know, their spirit's open and excited for the event about to happen. It's pampering. They want to feel awesome. We're women. We need to feel awesome. We need to feel empowered. So, let's create your I story. You got paper and pen ready? Okay. So I'm going to give you either a question or an instruction. Okay? And after each question or instruction, you're going to write 1 to 2 sentence answer. Okay?
When you're writing the question?
No, don't write the question or the answer. Just write, or don't write the question or instruction, just write your answer. Okay? Don't worry about the question or the instruction. You're going to create your I story. So, number 1, tell a little bit about yourself in 1 to 2 sentences. So, for me, I'm a cat lady, and I love dog people, and dogs are kind of cool. That's a little bit about myself, right?
Okay.
Did you write it? You can do this. Exercise time.
You have a baby who's going to be grown up soon.
They just put yourself there, and they just talked about some of their greatest achievements. So what's something that you're really proud of that you've done? That you would want people to know? I'm really proud of the fact that I have cats.
You have a baby that's going to be grown up soon?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm alive.
Praise the Lord.
I'm a full-time GG.
You are full-time GG. That's right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
have all my babies. Oh, I just got that. I was gonna ask you what that was.
What is GG?
I know, I just got it. I didn't think about it.
Mhm. Awesome. Okay. 2, write down either your previous job or current job in a sentence form. Don't just write down in a sentence. Yeah, 1 to 2 sentences for each of these. Not just one-word answers. Previous job or current job. So before Mary Kay, da 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 da. Or as a consultant, I also da 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 da. And this is probably where I personally also throw in the fact that I am a church girl, because I like people to know that, so that they're well prepared for my Jesus attitude. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of warm in here, isn't it?
It feels great in here.
My toes are kind of cold, so I'm confused. You're so cool, Deb.
I know.
And that happens all the time. It's not just not very often.
Me and the fawn.
You and the fawn?
Fawn.
Oh. Like fawn, like Bambi.
Have
Okay.
fawn.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, the happy days.
I'm so cool.
I love leather jackets. Okay. You guys ready for number 3?
Yeah.
How were you first introduced into Mary Kay? And this is going to be a hard one to fit and condense into 1 or 2 sentences. But the reason that we're condensing it into 1 or 2 sentences for this exercise is because you will have opportunity where you can kind of elaborate more. And I think that elaborating moment, you've connected with some of the people. And when they're talking, you can like think about different little Mary Kay moments that you can fill in there. But for tonight, just how were you first introduced to Mary Kay? Talk about like that one hook that you were like, that's awesome. Like for me, lady in a pink Cadillac strolled up with strawberry fingernails and showed me a roll-up bag. And I went from soap and water to a roll-up bag. And I'll tell you what a roll-up bag is later, but it's pretty awesome. It's like the BMW of skincare.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
How you were first introduced into Mary Kay?
Yeah.
Heather had strawberry fingernails.
Right, that's not what I wrote, because you said how we introduced.
Yeah, right, how you were introduced. Nice choice.
I was a bride.
Yeah. Well, I was a bride too.
Right, but yours is more fun than I was a bride.
Right, so just put your brain back in that place and think where you were sitting and what was like one of the first experiences you had? Or your
Cute
first
as.
because we're condensing it, so we can't like talk about the whole experience. So, and sometimes if I'm in front of a bride, that's what I'll say. I was a bride just like you. And that's really where I found Mary Kay. So you can throw that in there too. I don't throw that with everyone.
No, I don't know where to go from here. Do I have to be able to read my handwriting?
Well, I hope so.
It's pretty
You don't
bad.
have to write that fast.
It only works for so long. I figured it out.
Don't worry, we're almost halfway there.
Mine's a little long.
Okay, you're forgiven.
So would you say it's better to be shorter?
Yeah. I think
So
it's better
like
to
when
short
you're taking
it.
business law and you're summarizing 20 pages of legal into one paragraph, this is what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know this is going to be the trickiest little instruction question on this list. That is going to be the trickiest. I think because we have, you know, like Amber was at a facial, and then I probably would have thought I'd never see her again, and then it was really icy, and I was like, I'm just going to send out a boatload of text messages about icy interviews, and she was one of 2 responses or something like that. You know, so she had like layers within how she was introduced into Mary Kay and stuff like that. So I know it can be very layered, you know, but if you can.
I just put that I was at my best friend's house when the super cute, spunky, Jesus-loving girl came in with a bag that I had to have. Because that's what it was. It
Yeah.
was the bag.
Girl, I know. It was that bag.
So are we talking when we first became a consultant, or when we were first introduced to the product?
To the product.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy, he does. His mercy has no end. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What impressed you about Mary Kay when you were first introduced? So some of you might have already written this down if you wrote a long one. What impressed you about Mary Kay when you were first introduced? Whether it was the products, the opportunity, the friendship, the fact that you got out of there real quick. It could be anything. The one-on-one chat that you had even though you didn't get a facial.
Introduced like 30
Oh, there
years
you
ago
go. There you go too.
to the product.
I like that.
That's why I was.
That's great.
But then there's been
Right.
sporadic.
So yours would be more like a 2 long sentence where you kind of chop it up into.
Well, I just put right when I was introduced and went to the back.
Great.
That's what I follow
Great.
directions.
I like it. Okay. Okay, you guys ready for the next one? Nope. Okay. What impressed you about Mary Kay when you were first introduced?
You say the opportunity to people that aren't consultants.
Or you asked me how to phrase that? The opportunity for women. The opportunity it provides for women. Because that covers all the women. Whether they're consultants or not, there's still opportunity within the opportunity. It's like, what's that movie? With Leo DiCaprio and the brain and the brain and the brain. Dream and the dream and the dream.
Inception.
Inception. It's like Inception. Opportunity within the opportunity of the opportunity. Right, Deb? Endless. Lord have mercy opportunities. Thank you for your memory. Because I was going to say insurgent, and I know that was not it.
No, that's with the people and hiding and such.
Okay. What was your first fear, and what helped you through that fear? What was your first fear, and what helped you through that fear? This one was always hard for me, personally.
Because you're fearless.
I'm fearless.
What was your first fear and what?
What was your first fear, and what helped you through that fear? Don't get hand cramps. Plus, if you're getting hand cramps now, then we need to exercise your hands because career conference comes up in the spring. And y'all know it's time to write whenever it's career conference time. Now I'm not hot. Sorry.
It's just a personal sunburn.
Personal sunburn. Summer. Good thing it's not a personal sunburn.
Not at summer vacation yet. But you don't want to go.
No?
They do pass. I hope so.
Women are weird.
Yes, we are.
I'm one too. This is cute. Okay, you guys ready for the next one? Yeah? Why are you glad you started business with Mary Kay? Why are you glad you started business with Mary Kay? Everybody's really glad in this room. So glad. Okay. Okay. How is Mary Kay different from other careers you've tried? And I say careers because I loved being a lifeguard. Okay. It was the best job ever, right? So you might want to touch on a career that you really like and how it's different, and a career maybe that you didn't. And so fancy, but always think of the positive on that one. Like, think of the benefits. Compare benefits. You can do that. Time off and stuff like that with the job that you didn't like and whatnot. Because here's the idea behind that is you are going to connect with women that love their jobs. Because I meet women all the time that love what they do. And, you know, if you're focusing on what you really don't like compared to what you're doing now in Mary Kay, you know, you could miss an opportunity of that audience, whether that's one person or two people. You know, I meet lots of women that love what they do. So that's why I say careers. Think about a couple options, you know, and how you would present that. How is Mary Kay different from the other careers you've tried? Like, oh my gosh, I love lifeguarding because of all the people that I got to meet. I love Mary Kay because I get to meet that many more awesome people and connect with them, and I don't have to sit in a stand for 15 minutes at a time, but I get to sit and stand whenever I want. And I'm glad, even though I did love lifeguarding, I'm glad I'm still not doing it. Especially because I'm not as skinny as I used to be when I was a lifeguard. I was bathing suit. And sometimes they introduce two pieces. When you sit with a two-piece, that was for the video, just for you guys. Gotta entertain you guys too. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. Ready for the next one? Okay. A couple more seconds. Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to be a Mary Kay or a linguist. Okay. Now I'm having my own personal summer. Okay. Tell positive changes that you've noticed in yourself and your family's lifestyle. 1 to 2 sentences. Give me a hard one. Positive changes that you've noticed in yourself and your family's lifestyle. And if you don't have babies, you're not married, extended family, friends can be family, people, you know, roommates, however that works. Distant family, how they talk to you, how you talk to them. Yeah. Positive changes that you've noticed in yourself and in your family. Whether that you just started and they're really excited about your potential, more seasoned, and they just have this endurance of belief in you to go the long distance, to know that, you know, that was one of the first things that my husband said to me when I'm making the decision to join Mary Kay was, baby, if you can do it, if anybody can do it, you can do it. And that was just for me trying the products for a year and a half. That he learned to say that. I like that notebook, Amber.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's shiny and leopard and pink. I'm telling the recording. And you. I mean, in case you forgot what you've been writing. Okay. now you're going to insert your why in 1 to 2 sentences. You're really inserting your purpose that you found. You know, because we all have our own special purpose. This is like a vehicle for a greater calling. So you want to insert your why here. Why you're doing Mary Kay. Why. What's that big why? Okay. That's usually like your 10-second countdown where I say okay. We only have one more to go, so. We're doing like an exercise. I'm writing. That's why it's so quiet.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody's in trouble. Okay. Last, tell about your goals with or through Mary Kay. So, red jacket. What does red jacket mean for those people that don't know what a red jacket is? It means you'll be in the top 9% of the company. You know, and you want to finish that by when? And what does that mean? You know, commission checks. 3-4% commission checks. That's awesome. You know, DIQ by when? What is DIQ? Director of Qualification. What is a director? So you just kind of want to like share that. And one thing that I always did and still do is like when I was finishing cruise, and I would sit around a table of women, be like, we're finishing our first level Mary Kay car. So each one of you represents like a bolt on my front right tire. Awesome. And then as we go on, you guys can like each buy a tire. You're each like representing a tire. A windshield wiper. What do you want to do? You want to be a button in my radio? Do you want to be Kiss FM? Or do you want to be 93.3? So, you know, make it fun like that, you know? Because really, these faces are getting you to your goals. So connect them with your goal, because it's not just your goal. You're really partnering, creating that partnership with people. I need another button because when the commercials come on, who wants to be my other button?
92.5.
92.5. Sorry. That's okay. That's not. So don't be sorry about who you are and the music that you are. There you go.
Listen to everything.
My husband thought it was so silly that I like know every pop song, and I'm like, I have come to terms with the fact that I love pop music. And I know you love country. And then the other night, it was actually a week ago, he said, baby, you get 3 buttons on my truck. what 3 stations do you want? And I was like, thanks. That was a sacrifice for him.
Well, there's only 3 country stations.
Yeah, but then there's the sports station. And then there's his Jesus music. So if you're done, you can like wiggle your fingers, do jazz hands. Jazz hands! Woohoo! Jazz hands. For everybody. Oh, hold on, I'm not done yet. Sorry. No, you're done writing. You're done writing. So after I say that, because remember we're still in the intro, so I'm kind of bringing you guys back. After, I go through my iStory, I like to outline what they can expect during the rest of the meeting, okay? So, because, it's just like, you come into a meeting and you're like, how long am I going to be here and what's the format, It's just really good, guest manners to do that. So, to do that, you can I typed up Michelle Cunningham's and you can watch her YouTube video because I love how she does her iStory. But I just grabbed a few things that she says towards the end and I'm just going to read those. And if you want to take them and practice them, again, watch her YouTube video. But, I don't want to take advice from anyone that I don't want to trade places with. That was a phrase that I love. If you don't have a backup plan, get a backup plan. You never know what's going to happen. So that might relate to some of y'all's stories while you're in Mary Kay. Never look back. Never went back to a traditional job. If I went back to a traditional job, I wouldn't be making as much money as I do in Mary Kay. That can relate to some of y'all, and you can connect with people with that phrase. While we're on this earth, I believe that we should make as much money as we can. So for our future, live totally debt-free and give back to others frequently, generously, and anonymously. That's a huge goal of mine, personally. That's a phrase that she said that I totally connected with because that's mine and my husband's goal is to be the givers in our community and to make that difference. And really, money is just a tool to do that. But one thing that I do like to say is that I'm going to, at the end of this, I'm going to share a little bit more about the company at the end. And if you decide to join tonight, you'll have the opportunity to join tonight. Yay, you. That's always the first option that we give you. So you might have heard byproducts, book parties, join. I think it can be really powerful if we close with join, book, byproducts. If your goal is red jacket, if your goal is director, that's where you need to, plant your feet on that. Because the people who want to buy they will buy. And if you decide it's not for you, then you can always pass it on to someone who else that, they might be broke, unhappy, need more positivity in their life and didn't, because you made it fun, everybody's already laughed. So that's what we're going to do at the end here. So we're going to go ahead and jump into some skincare. We'll play a game. You'll get to know a little bit more about the company. And then what I like to do at the very end is meet with you guys one-on-one because skincare is personal. Hormones, weather, the whole shebang affects us all. So it's really a kind of a personal conversation. So is there anybody that needs to leave first? So you always want to make sure that whoever is in that rush that you still catch them because I've done it where I didn't make sure and they've gone out the door and I've never talked to them again. Okay. But you never know. So find out who needs to leave first and then just remember her. So afterwards, and then a good thing to keep in mind is if your hostess says, can I have food and sandwiches and stuff? Girl, that would be awesome. Hey, just because we're going to be touching our faces, would you mind holding the food until the end? We're going to do some individual chats and everybody can kind of mix and mingle and eat the food, after we've done touching our faces. Is that cool? It's always cool. Always cool. So, sound good? Awesome. Ready to get started? And everybody's always ready to get started. So, you can pause. Thank you guys for watching.